in the entire world. This is a wake-up call for all Pakistanis, especially policymakers and people of our neighboring countries, to take actions that can help us reduce air pollution and subsequently the health and socio-economic conditions of our people in Pakistan. This issue of smog and poor air quality in Pakistan is very complex, and we need a systematic approach to analyze and unpack this complexity. There are multiple sectors responsible for producing greenhouse gases and other air pollutants, but we will explore each sector one by one in our series of webinars and try to understand and analyze the ground realities of the issue, sources of emissions, processes involved in smog formation, public health and socioeconomic impacts, policy recommendations, and sustainable solutions by using knowledge and experience of experts. In this webinar, we will explore the importance of agriculture in improving the air quality in Pakistan. Although major emissions are contributed by vehicles and industrial sector, agricultural practices like crop residue burning, tilling or harvesting, fertilizers, pesticides, and livestock manure release ammonia, methane, and particulate matter into the air. Contributing to air pollution, it is also facing the harmful effects of air pollution and climate change worldwide. For example, heavy smog results in low crop yields, soil degradation, livestock damage, food contamination, and food insecurity, leading to poor health and socioeconomic conditions of the populations. Today, we will discuss this two-way relationship between agriculture sector and air pollution. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and we will share the link of the recording later. This is an interactive session, and participants can send any questions for the panel through the chat box. Now, let me introduce our speakers for today. First of all, we have Mr. Mukhtar Ahmed. Mr. Mukhtar is currently the Executive Director of Center for Peace and Development Initiatives. He has over 20 years of experience in the field of democratic development, legislative oversight, right to information, budget tracking, governance, decentralization, policy reforms, and consumer protection. Now, I would like to introduce our first guest speaker. Mr. Amir Hayat Bhandara, who is a visionary farmer, entrepreneur, and policy advocate, co-founder of Agriculture Republic and Digital Data. In 2023, he was nominated as a member of the Prime Minister's Task Force on Economy. He was also a member of PM's Committee on Agriculture Yield Improvement from 2022 to 2023. Our second guest speaker is Dr. Abdul Manan. Dr. Abdul Manan holds a doctorate in agricultural sciences, agronomy with years of experience on sustainable and regenerative agriculture, digital farming, agriculture market development through supply and value chain research and development, data collection and analysis for future agriculture. You have to change the photo for the next speaker. I'm talking about Dr. Abdul Manan. Can you do that, please? Okay, so our third guest speaker, I think maybe when I can ask the questions, then you can do that. So I'm just giving a brief introduction for all the speakers at first. So our third guest speaker is Mr. Hasto Cristiano from Indonesia. He has a vision to empower and direct Indonesia's abundant renewable energy potential towards sustainability. He is a co-founder and CEO of Infra company, where he is developing technology to use crop stubble for generating power. He is also co-founder and commissioner at PT Warsha Zamindo Laksana, where he is working to provide breakthrough solutions to acute water management issues in Indonesia. He also worked at Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank, AIIB, as a senior private sector operations specialist. Now, without further ado, let me invite Mr. Mukhtar Ahmed Ali to give his opening remarks. Mr. Mukhtar, sir, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Dr. Mahrukh Saiba, for taking the initiative and for organizing this webinar. This is a very important and a pertinent topic, very timely one for Pakistan, and I'm sure for other countries, especially India. Um, in every winter season for the past many years, we have been experiencing a major um, smog problem in Pakistan. Initially, it would cover only certain parts of Punjab, but now our observation is that its geographical coverage is expanding. It is becoming more intense with every passing year. And it has huge economic implications, health implications, educational implications. The last month, when we did have a very intense problem, so schools were closed, and the government imposed restrictions on businesses, on mobility, and so on and so forth. Major victims of this problem are the poor segments of society, the disadvantaged, the daily wage earners, because they're the ones then whose access to livelihoods become restricted. Similarly, the patients, the ones who suffer from respiratory diseases, they also suffer much more than the other people. Um, and there's also kind of a class dimension to it because rich people may afford um, uh, gadgets, which help them in purifying air, and they can afford it. But the poor people can't do it. Poor people also live in small localities, small houses. Uh, Typically, their houses are not insulated. So even if they stay at home, so they're more vulnerable compared to the ones who live in posh localities. So this is a huge problem, and this is a problem in Pakistan. This is a problem in India. In certain parts, we have the smog problem, but in other parts, we may not have a smog problem because of air movement or whatever. Experts know that better. But still, the quality of air is not good. So, for instance, we don't have a smog problem in Karachi, but it doesn't mean the air quality is good. Similarly, in Peshawar and other places. In India, similarly, they have this problem every year. They also, there's a competition between Delhi and Lahore for most of the time, whether Delhi is more pollutant or Islamabad or Lahore is more pollutant. In India, also, they have been making efforts to deal with this problem for the past many years. They started much earlier than us, and there are some court interventions also. But I think the problem has not been fixed. So today, of course, we would like to learn from experts, but I mean, it's also important to find out why the kinds of efforts that India have made have not been really impactful, and what really different needs to be done. And as Dr. Maroof Sahaba said, that we have to look at each sector, transport, agriculture, and other sectors, the level of contribution and what exactly needs to be done fundamentally. Of course, sometimes we take cosmetic measures once we are in the problem. We do some things, certain things like the steps that our Punjab government took, during the last month, closure of schools and the restrictions on businesses and transport and so on. But I think we need to my view is that we need to think differently, fundamentally differently. Without that, we may not be able to deal with these problems, and for that, we need to learn from other experiences, Indian experience, of course, but from other countries as well. And we are thankful that we have experts today with us. We can benefit from them. Of course, the stubble burning problem is something that we know of. Uh, how much they do, this stubble burning contributes to the smog problem or overall air quality, that is a matter of scientific evidence. Whether that evidence is being collected or not, whether our estimates are correct or not, that's another matter. But I'm sure it contributes to some extent. But there may be other agriculture-related practices which contribute to such a problem and which we don't know of, or which we often don't talk about. So today is the opportunity to learn about those as well, so that we collectively contribute to creating awareness. We raise our voice, we engage with our policymakers, and hopefully, if we start doing it, things will start improving. Because ultimately, it's about demand and supply. If there is a growing public demand, and the discussions move outside of the experts circle and civil society organization, the youth activist media starts talking about it, then I'm sure there will be a response. But if discussions remain contained to expert circles, and there's no growing demand or awareness, then there may be delayed policy response. Um, the purpose of organizing these webinars is essentially the same, that we do our bit, we contribute to this process of creating awareness and dialogue, and I'm sure this series will positively contribute to it. So I'm again thankful to Dr. Maruf Saiba for taking the lead on this, and also our experts for joining us today. They're very prominent experts from their different sectors. I'm sure we all will learn a great deal from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mukhtar Sahab, for uh, giving us the introduction of CPDI and your opening remarks. And I'm sure you're right that we need to think differently and we need to learn from the lessons that are evidence-based. So moving forward, I would like to um, invite our first guest speaker, Mr. Amir Hayat Bhandara. And Amir Sahab, my first question to you is, what are your observations and assessments regarding impacts of air pollution on agriculture sector?
Thank you very much, Dr. Maro. You guys listen me? I'm audible?
Yes, जी बिल्कुल सुन रहे हैं हम
Okay.
आपको.
अच्छा, मुझे देख भी रहे हैं. I'm on the road, so there could be some. I mean, I was driving somewhere. But thank you very much for your invite, Dr. Maro, and thank you, Dr. Mukhtar Ahmad Ali, for giving us detailed introduction, not about your organization, but also something about what the air pollution is. I want, stuck into your particular question. I'll try to discuss the whole issue in detail. First of all, uh, we need to understand that Pakistan's agriculture sector is uh, not only in documents the backbone of economy, but it is in real the backbone of economy, contributing significantly to our GDP and still providing uh, labor opportunities to the unskilled labor more than any other sector. But when we talk about the air pollution, this is not only the crop residue, but one important factor is uh, I'm just talking about the agriculture sector, is the diesel powered machinery. And in Pakistan, we do not have such standard of not only to the transportation sector, but in the agriculture machinery as well, that we compete with the world in terms of environment. Protection or positively impacting our environment. Other other things could include your synthetic fertilizers, poor usage of the chemicals and sprays, or curbing the diseases and pests in our agriculture and crop farming sector. Well, your question was that what was the impacts of air pollution on agriculture sector? What we faced in the near past is the recent smog has badly damaged our potato crop at the initial stage. We have seen a significant reduction in the plant population at the germination stage. And we have also seen some serious growth issues, growth problems in our, if I talk about the potatoes only. So this is this the air pollution problem is now clubbed with our climate change issue. Like our temperature is, higher in the higher side till December. I'm sitting in an open air space, and the temperature is not as much lower as it should be in the first week of December. And the nights are receiving the minus the lower temperature, not in minus, but that is also impacting in some other forms of diseases to our major crops like potatoes, wheat, and could be an issue for our other vegetable crops. But may I speak other than your question, or you want to ask other question relevant to these, Dr. Maru?
Amir Sahab, I would also like to ask, since policy is also one of your specialities, so would you also like to talk about the policies that we have to mitigate the effects of smog or air pollution on the agri businesses? Since I know that climate change is a big but we just want to shrink it up to the air pollution because smog जो है वो हमारा एक बहुत recent problem बहुत recent तो नहीं है but still एकदम जो है बहुत upheaval आया इसमें. So I think I really want you to just stick to the policies first, and then I will ask you other questions. Over to you.
I think we lost Amir Shah. I think he's disconnected.
Hello, Amir Saab, can you hear us?
Maybe we can move to the next. He lost his connection. I think so. We need to move to the next participant, and then he can join us, and then we can go call.
Yes, I agree. So our next guest speaker is Dr. Abdul Manan, and I just want to make an amendment.
Your mic is off, Dr. Maru.
No, it's not off. Maybe you need to unmute me from the.
We can hear you, Dr. Maru, but you need to come closer to the mobile phone because your voice is slightly coming from far. If you come close, it will really help. Yeah, this might be a good idea. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yes.
So for Dr. Abdul Manan, I want to add about his introduction that he is working as a project director in desert agriculture for Beacon House Group. Dr. Abdul Manan, my first question to you is, what do you think are the negative influences of climate change and smog on agribusinesses in Pakistan? And you can also later talk about that how can we make agriculture sector of Pakistan climate resilient? Over to you, Dr. Abdul Manan.
Thank you, Maraf. Firstly, salam to my friend Amir. I have seen him after a decade. So good to see you, Amir, if you're listening. Anyways, so as we're talking about the impact of smog or air pollution in agriculture, yes, it is. Let's have few examples. In the previous month, there was smog that covered our environment more than 15 to 17 days. So during those days, the germination of major crops like potato, wheat, and vegetables was severely affected. I can share an example, practical example with you. Like we saw the potatoes in the first week of October, and the crop germinates within 15 days. But due to smog, the germination was delayed. With the delay in germination, ultimately the crop cycle will be shrinked, and when the crop cycle will be shrinked, it will affect the yield, and the ultimate effect will be on the economics of that crop. Like if we are expecting X amount of profit per acre, due to delay in germination and other factors due to air pollution like smog, and then smog also that affects the crop yield and ultimately economics of the crop. The second thing is, as we talk about the wheat, unfortunately the total acreage of wheat area in Punjab is less than the previous years, but due to this smog, the germination and the overall health of that crop is very, 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 very less as compared to the previous years, which results into the decreased yield. और जब yield decrease हो जाएगी तो फिर supply and demand वाला issue जो है ना वो raise होता है, और ultimately the prices will go higher, or we talk about the higher prices of the crops के एक beneficiary जो है ना the one beneficiary will take benefit of that, and the other like consumer will affect or suffer. So these all things revolves in a cycle. Air pollution को reduce करना is in our own hand. Like if a farmer holds 100 acres of land or 200 acres of land, he can contribute minutely to reduce the air pollution by controlling the burning of the stubbles of crops. Like we give an example of rice crop burning, which is a common practice in central Punjab, in some areas of South Punjab also, and in Sindh. These all things led to the air pollution, and smoke is the main product of the rice stubble burning. We should control on such things. We must control on such things, and by using the fertilizers, we can't grow our crops nicely. We have to use the fertilizers, but with balanced use of fertilizers and balanced use of the pesticides, we can contribute to decrease the air pollution. So this is a wholesome picture of air pollution, its impact, and how can we control the air pollutions. The next thing, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. I think we would like to talk more about those specific agricultural practices that are adding to the air pollution, like crop residue burning, and and can we replace those practices with better sustainable options?
Yes, we can. There's a terminology called as zero tillage, zero till practices, in which, as Amir was saying, that we are using the diesel for the tractor running. Yes, when we prepare our land, we need to use the tractor on for 5 to 6 hours for 1 acre land preparation. So by using the zero till practices, we need to use our tractor 30 minutes. So it is all there are minute things, micromanagement, you can say. The micromanagement can leads to control of air pollution, especially smog in the central and south Punjab. I'm heading a project in Cholistan near Yazman, Bahawalpur. This area was smog free. There is no like chance of smog in the desert because there is no crop burning in that area. It is barren land, but due to the practices being practiced in central Punjab, the smoke is shifting from central to the south Punjab, and it is affecting the crops in that area. Our wildlife is very happy because there is no such agri practices as in central Punjab, but smoke affected the wildlife also. We can control, we can use the different practices to minimize the air pollution like smoke and other things. We must use the till technologies. We must use the balanced use of fertilizers and pesticides. We must do such practices. इसमें एक जो बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर आ जाता है, वो ये आता है कि आप जब अपनी प्रीवियस क्रॉप को हार्वेस्ट कर रहे होते हैं, हार्वेस्ट करने के साथ जब आप अपनी अगली क्रॉप की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे होते हैं, तो उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आपके पास बहुत स्मॉल कुशन होता है. उस कुशन को हमने सस्टेनेबल बनाना है. हमने अपनी जो वी मस्ट कंट्रोल द बर्निंग ऑफ क्रॉप रेजिड्यूज, वी मस्ट यूज लेस मशीनरी, वी मस्ट गो फॉर द PQ, NQ and zero till practices. These all three factors can significantly reduce the air pollution in Punjab or Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. And before I go back to Mr. Amir Dara, I would like to move towards our third guest speaker, Mr. Hasto, to share his knowledge and experience with us regarding green solutions for using crop stubble in Indonesia. Over to you, Mr. Hasto. Can you listen to us?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is my audio audible to everyone?
Yes, Mr. Hasto, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Maruf, for having me in this session, and it's quite a pleasure for me to be here. I'm humbled with the presence of all of the experts in the room. What I have today is a small practical activities that I've seen from Indonesia. This is started about 1.5 years ago when I was standing on top of one of the largest, if not the largest, gas fire power plant in Indonesia and probably also in Southeast Asia. At the top of that non-operating power plant, because it was being commissioned, the project director was telling me a big problem that the power plant will face in the future. which is from the distance we can see the burning of rice straw, and the smoke from the rice straw is good enough to cause that multi-billion-dollar power project to be stopped because of clogging the air intake system. So what I asked to the project director is what can be done, because that area is part of the rice barn of Indonesia, whereby the agriculture is properly irrigated, so planting and harvesting can take place around the year. So and so is the burning of the straw. So the burning can take place a year long as well. So what they do is they work with a kind of civil service organization to work with the farmer and try to convince them not to burn. But in doing so, they will need to also convince the farmer to generate a certain economic activity with the straw. The things that they are doing at this point is producing mushroom and also producing silage for cattle feed. But as you can see, that that is pretty much limited because there's no integration at this point of time between the product, which is the food in terms of mushroom, as well as the cattle feed silage. So based on that idea, what I am actually doing right now, we're developing a project whereby a large amount of straw can be utilized to produce power with a very simple technology. Technology that's been around for decades, which is the steam power technology. Uh, the main thing, the main issue is not so much in the technology converting the waste into energy, but in the commerciality, ensuring the sustainability of supply of the straw as a feedstock through cooperation structure that we are working with the community right now, all the way to having the right strong off taker of the produced power. And we are actually inspired by the project that is done in India in the state of Rajasthan, where recently Asian Development Bank, I see some gentlemen from ADB also present in the room as well. I learned a lot. We learned a lot from the project that is financed by Asian Development Bank in the state of Rajasthan in India. How we can convert the agricultural waste, which is normally burned, to become a sustainable power. And the presence of the government in the case of India is big by means of certain protection of the independent power producer. In our case in Indonesia, we would like to develop a concept that is basically business to business, whereby the power that is produced from the uh, the straw is going to be transacted on a business to business basis. And we're still in the development stage at this stage. There's so much can be shared, but we are proud to have secured some LOI from certain potential strong off-takers. And we are working in strengthening the structure with the community so that we can have sustainable supply of waste to produce sustainable power, which can be called green economic activities. And hopefully, by doing that, we also benefit the community not only from the prevention of the air pollution because of the burning of the straw, but also from the economic development from the activity. So we'll be happy to learn from everybody else in the room and also to share whatever we have if it can be beneficial. Over to you, Dr. Mari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haskell, for all your valuable information. I'm sure you
I'm not sure. Is it just me or we probably lost Dr. Maro?
We perhaps lost the voice of Dr. Maro.
Okay, I think while she comes back, maybe we can continue with this discussion. And Pakasto, I just want to sort of shoot a quick question at you because we had this wonderful conversation that you're talking about today here in Beijing a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned this very interesting solution on which you're also working personally. Can you maybe share a little more with us? My question to you is, if we are burning the crop residue to produce energy, if you're burning the stubble, wouldn't it still contribute to the air pollution? Or there is a control technology to ensure that the emissions can actually be trapped and don't go out in the air? Could you please maybe shed a little more light on that?
Sure. Thank you, Brother Shams. It's also very nice to hear again. It's actually had a discussion last week in Beijing, so it's not too long ago. And what we believe today, fundamentally, with combusting the straw, it is actually a net zero activity, meaning that the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed to grow the rice is actually theoretically similar to the amount of carbon dioxide emitted. But the difference is, while this is a net zero activity, all of the other particulates are pretty much well captured in the power plant, which is different from the case whereby the straw is openly burned on the ground, which everything will be emitted to the atmosphere, from carbon dioxide all the way to all the matters, which is in the case of a controlled combustion in a typical power plant with very strict emission control, then we can minimize the emission of the particulate to the atmosphere.
Perfect, Pakasto. Thank you so much. I think Dr. Maruk is back. Maybe she can continue. Dr. Maruk, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was trying to look for Mr. Amir Bhandara because we still need to ask him a few questions about agriculture policies. Is he there? And after that, we can go to the questions from the audience.
I think Amir
Dr.
is here. He's very much here.
I'm here. I'm here. If you could be able to please repeat the question. I may shut my camera off due to the poor internet connectivity on road. So please.
Thank you very much when joining in these circumstances while traveling on the road. That's very kind of you. Please tell us about agricultural policies of Pakistan that aim to mitigate the effects of smog or air pollution on agribusinesses. Over to you.
Well, Dr. Maruk, thank you very much. Well, let me continue where I stopped earlier due to the poor internet connectivity. Thank you, Dr. Manan, for saying kind words about me, and thank you very much for sharing your expertise about how the zero tillage technology is improving the air quality in terms of agriculture, residue burning, or so on. I must emphasize that we cannot solely blame farmers for the air pollution and smog. जो ये हर दफा दिल्ली और लाहौर में होता है. So the Indian Chief Minister, Punjab Chief Minister, was few days back was making some fun of both the Chief Minister, the Pakistani Punjab and the Delhi as well. But the problem is that we are doing this since centuries. The rice is not a new crop in Pakistan or in India, and rice burning is also not a new thing that we are experiencing now. But I always say, and again I'm saying here, is that Section 144 is not the solution of stopping farmers from crop burning. Our Indonesian friend were discussing, I couldn't hear him properly, but that was something like to a business model. Pakistan's policies, in Pakistan, we have policies here to curb the air pollution and certainly to support the environmental protection and environmental friendly practices. Like you see the climate change policy made in 2012, you see the agriculture policy of 2018, you see the Environment Protection Act. But the whole idea behind stopping the burning of the crop residue was standing behind a colonial age Section 144 exercise and then stopping farmers, making FIRs, and go on with fines. That is not the solution, I believe. When we are talking about a policy that should be exercised for everyone, like in the recent government of Punjab has introduced some technologies, like we call it the happy seeder or the zero tillage as well. That is a part of mechanization that supports one cropping system. In central Punjab, where the crop burning issue is here, is a multiple cropping area. Like Dr. Shams was saying in the chat box that he has faced germination issues in wheat, because that is the rice wheat cropping pattern. We have another cropping system that is called the rice and vegetable cropping system that includes potatoes, that includes other vegetables like cucumber, squash, or other things that we grow in the winters. The problem why farmers burn is not because he is so lazy that he always try to burn the crop residue to prepare the crop. The problem is the time window is very short. And that's why correlate climate change and air pollution earlier when I start speaking. The climate is actually shrinking. The climate change is actually shrinking the operational window of the farming community for the farmers. Like, we have a very short time period to prepare a land, and if we stop, when the crop is lodged, the rice crop is lodged, this it is near to impossible to collect that stubble, and the shortest possible way is to burn that stubble. So we need to work on those policies and introducing those mechanization machinery tools. Those can be helpful in minimizing not only the crop window operation, but also to collect that stubble, which can be used as a fodder, which can be used as a biofuel for other industries. And the important thing where I would like to invite, I don't know, we have any private sector or industry sector sitting here in the business sector. The business sector should jump in with the government, with the help of the government, to create a whole new value chain by providing opportunities to collect that stubble and then turn into the pellets and used it into the bricklins. अब जो हमारा सबसे बड़ा मसला these two sectors are primarily considered as responsible for air pollution in Pakistan, the crop burning and the bricklands. So these both could act very responsibly and reasonably if we can make another type of value chain and a business model for the crop residue only to burn in the bricklands or other industries to save not only our environment but have healthy impact on our economy at large. And this whole issue was started, in 2017, the air pollution. We perhaps don't knew this earlier. When the Lancet Commission report actually discussed that there are millions of people who die premature due to the air pollution in Pakistan. And then we started thinking about, oh, yes, there is the problem that we call the air pollution. And that the first step was to impose Section 144 and ask farmers and bricklayers to stop burning immediately. That was not the solution, and that is still not the solution. We have to work it collectively. We need to raise awareness. We need to work on the business models, and then we need to work with the farming community to get aware and be more sustainable and environment friendly. But what we are doing, Dr. Manan is an expert on regenerative and climate smart agriculture. What I am doing is that I have completely turned my small scale farm into a climate smart agriculture and a regenerative agriculture farm. And we have stopped the crop burning for last more than a decade. And these type of things, I think we need to work with those bodies that can certify those farms, and then that will be helpful for achieving the target of selling that crop with premium. So farmers should feel responsible and collect that stubble instead of burning. But as for I think I'm done at the moment. Let me know if any other question comes to your mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amir Hayat.
Okay, I think Dr. Maruk is stuck again. It's probably because whenever she turns on her video, there's a lapse in audio as well. While she comes back, I just wanted to just continue this discussion on the Amir. You mentioned something very interesting, and I think this is something that goes broadly unnoticed and undiscussed, or certainly not discussed in a length that it should be. It's the agricultural machinery. You mentioned that our agricultural machinery is primarily run on fossil fuels. It's run on diesel. And I mean, nowhere else we see tractors basically hauling, the agricultural produce, which happens in Pakistan. They are hauling wheat straw. They are hauling all kinds of crops on the road. They're destroying roads at the same time. They're also producing a lot of emissions. And the whole, range of agricultural machinery that we have in Pakistan, I feel that it's really outdated. It produces a lot of emissions. What's your sort of thinking around what needs to be done to change this? Because it seems, I mean, agriculture machinery, us, being an agriculture country, is certainly a huge part of the overall, machinery or maybe even traffic on the road. So what's your thought as to how we can really transform this? Any thinking, any ideas on this from your side?
Thank you very much, Dr. Shams. That's a very, very important question that you asked just now. Uh, when we talk about only smog, it's not the farmer's problem. It's the whole transport sector issue. We are running on an old technology of engines and similarly on the fuel. So the word is, and let me come towards the agriculture sector. Like you already mentioned that when there is like the month of November, October, November, you see there is a cloud of soil and dust everywhere because every tractor is running in the field, and that not only have impacted in terms of the emissions and the air pollution, but also impacted heavy machinery, and poor designed heavy machinery has actually disturbed our whole, soil texture. That is responsible for your future generation and future food security. When you are discussing the problems of climate change and air pollution, you actually need to discuss with the smart solutions instead of the mechanized solutions. We have machinery available, but our tractor is the century old technology. No precision, no artificial intelligence included, no computers installed, not a single new technology we have installed what has been developed in the last couple of decades. We are going on the same model what we were using just since the Pakistan came into being, and similar tractors, similar design, similar machinery, similar poor mechanization is still here. We need to work on precision agriculture, supported by the artificial intelligence and machine learning. We need to plow that particular field where it is needed. We need to apply the fertilizer where actually it is needed. We need to have the satellite models and data sets to use our not only the inputs efficiently, but also use the machinery and the plows and tools very, very effectively and more smartly. I've been to last month I was in Italy to see the second largest agriculture machinery expo in Bologna. You know, the this year's theme was just the sustainability and environment, and they are focusing on those tools instead of tractors to stop the harms to the soil, water, and air. So, but our focus is unfortunately not there, and I won't blame the farmer, private sector, or government in it, because when you are talking about the precise models, the artificial intelligence, you are sitting in Beijing, you are sitting in China, you can see around the farming technologies and techniques happening and it being invented in last couple of decades or even the last 1 decade. You can see that how much investment is required. So we need to take private sector on board in this to come join and invest in the agriculture sector, because our whole economy is revolving around this agriculture. I was listening. You must have watched or read a news about stopping our cotton, our textile mills for doing business somewhere in the world. I was discussing with someone who owned a textile mill that the industry has not actually worked with the farmers. Our textile move towards the latest machinery, but our farmer and the ginning industry, half of the textile value chain is standing on the century old technology. Those seeds, those were invented some 40 years back. We are still using those technologies. Our private sector has to take the responsibility for this, because they are doing business. They must have to invest on the value chain, starting from the farmers and the input supplier, and then move on towards these precision technologies to have better results, not on the economy of the farmers, but the businesses and the economy at large of Pakistan. I hope, Dr. Shams, I have answered your question, please.
Thank you, Amir Saab. Over to you, Dr. Maruf, and maybe you don't have to turn on your video this time because whenever it happens, it's like you're frozen. So maybe you can continue with rest of the session, maybe without turning on your video. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Maruf.
Thank you very much. I'm audible this time. So thank you very much, Mr. Amir Hayat Bhandara, for all the valuable answers. And of course, we need more investment from the private sector, and we must develop some really good business models that should, and in collaboration with government agencies and the private sector, so that they should come forward and invest in the value chains. And I would like to, from this onwards, I would like to ask Dr. Abdul Manan to please add to this discussion and move it forward. Over to you,
Thank
Dr.
you, Mark. I just want to add in Amir's discussion that yes, private sector is working day and night for sustainable practices in Pakistan. Let me give you an example. SIFC Special Investment Facilitation Council launched a project to turn deserts into the agriculture land. So private sector took the initiative. Big groups of Pakistans get entered into it, and they are working in the desert. So as far as the other things like machinery, sustainable resources are concerned, private sectors are working jointly with the international organizations to induct such technologies in Pakistan. I personally working with one of the biggest Chinese tractor making company who are working on the electric tractors, but unfortunately our staff, or our, you can say, our labor is not skilled for that. Firstly, we have to educate our working people. Firstly, we have to educate our field or operation teams. Then we can move for the sustainable things. Amir said that he is working on the sustainable practices, like he has banned the burning of stubbles at his farm. I already have requested that every farmer must do on his own to disseminate or to take such initiative for sustainable or to mitigate the air pollutions. As government, I don't think so. Government is such serious to facilitate the private sector on such things. I personally have a lot of examples. I personally have a lot of experience to invite the biggest government organizations to collaborate with us. But unfortunately, the filing system of our country, unfortunately, the official or bureaucratic behavior of our people working with the government sector is not supportive. Then the private sector forcefully goes or wants to work with the international organizations. But when private sector starts working with international organization, then the hindrances, restrictions come, and the things goes beyond our tolerance or beyond our control. But being very optimistic agriculturist, I do believe that we are far better in our agriculture, in our sustainable practices as we were 5 years back. The people are aware now. They have started using the zero till technology, as Amir was saying about the happy seeder, and Amir was saying other technology, like people are using the autopilot tractors in Pakistan even. So these all things will make our environment very conducive for the crop production. I'm very afraid due to the smog span of 15 to 17 days, our wheat, potato, and other vegetable crops are going to affect adversely. I wish I'm wrong, but the scenario, the data, and the futuristic climatic states are indicators of such bad production in future. So these there are few points from my side. Yes, private sector is completely in to introduce the sustainable practice in Pakistan. There are few hindrances from our government. Our policy makers must relax the policies for agriculture, relax the import policies for the agriculturists. Then we'll be able to introduce such innovative technology, innovative, sustainable, and environment friendly technology in Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. You are absolutely right that we need to build capacity. We need to create awareness among farmers community, and that's really sad to know that the government sector is not very supportive in this regard. But still, there is a good news since you said that we are better in our sustainable practices compared to what we were 5 years back. So nowadays, people are talking about biodiversity, biotechnology. Would you like to throw some light on it? And I would also like you to please explain your specialty, the regenerative agriculture, to us. Over to you.
Maruf, like biotechnology, it's a broader term. Okay, mainly it is used in the seeds. Like हमारे पास जो सीड आज से 5-10 साल पहले थे वीट का, उनकी प्रोडक्शन 30 to 35 mounds hoti thi. With the passage of time, our biotechnologists evolved new seeds which can tolerate the high temperature or low temperature, which can grow with the less water, which need less fertilizers with better yields. Similarly, in the case of potatoes, similarly in the case of maize, similarly in the case of other vegetables. But unfortunately, again, this is an irony for all of us, that when the private sector wants to make or register its own seeds or seed companies, the mafia comes and grab them. Biotechnology in agriculture is being practiced in Pakistan, but not up to the mark which we were expecting, which we should use. As far as the regenerative agriculture is concerned, we are doing agriculture on such places where agriculture was not possible, like in desert. I'm talking about for the Pakistan perspective. The agriculture is being done in desert in Israel. Now the Saudi Arabia has started agriculture. I was in China 3 months back. I visited the Gansu, Lanzhou, all other the deserts of China. Agriculture is being done over there. But in Pakistan, the desert agriculture is a new trend, which is initiated by the government of Pakistan, Pakistan Army, and SAFC combinedly. We are doing agriculture in the desert. We are trying to make the desert green by using the techniques like climate smart agriculture, by inducting the high efficiency irrigation systems, by inducting the seeds we are biotechnologically evolved, which can grow on the less water, on the bad water, and which can tolerate the adverse environment situations, right? I'm very proud to say that the desert of Cholistan, near Yasman, has approximately 1 lakh acres of land. Approximately 30,000 acres of land is already being cultivated by different big groups of the Pakistan by using the techniques of climate smart agriculture, by using the solar energy, by using the high efficiency irrigation system like central pivoting. This will impact positively in our Pakistan's economy. How? That we will grow the crops, the crop will be in excess, and we will export. When we will export our agri commodities, the ultimately the revenue will come in Pakistan, and it will uplift our agriculture economy of our country. Anything else?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. Is there any other way of managing the livestock and the manure, which is responsible for releasing the gases like methane and ammonia. I mean,
Yes,
do we
yes,
have?
yes. Yes, yes, yes. The actually in our central Punjab, the basic reason of methane and ammonia is our rice. As this is the rice wheat cropping pattern into in central Punjab mainly. What we do, we sow or we crop our rice plant into the standing water by using the direct seeded rice. By using the alternate wetting and drying method, we can eliminate, we can reduce the methane and other gas emissions in Punjab, and we also can reduce the pollutions by being created by such crops. There are few other methods also. By as I already have mentioned, we must go for the no tillage. We must go for no burning of our residues. These all things are interconnected. These all, when these all things combine, which these led to the environment pollution in addition to the other things.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. I must say that we are impressed by the progress of the agriculture in terms of converting the deserts into agricultural land.
Yes,
And
yes, yes. Only one example that now the big now the people have started educating their children, and they are into the digital world. They are using the AI for the agriculture. They have started inducting drones for the agriculture monitoring. They have started in they have started using drones for the sprays. Now they are gradually moving for the central pivoting system, drip irrigation system, sprinkler irrigation, though the ratio of such people is very less. But the good thing is that this has been initiated by our people. The coming generation, which is taking agriculture as profession and business, they are ultimately shifting from traditional to the sustainable, modern, digital, and regenerative agriculture.
thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. So, looking at the time constraint, I would like to shift to our audience. And if any one of you have any questions, either you can write in the chat box or you can raise your hand. And Nosheen, then maybe you have to unmute the person who wants to ask a question.
Dr. Maruf, can I maybe ask a question or two from the speakers?
Sure, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is look, it's a very interesting discussion, and it touches upon a broad range of issues which we are dealing. But on a given day, look, I'm a farmer myself, and you know, I really feel that I think in the mix of discussion that we have in Pakistan, agriculture sector is blamed unfairly for its contribution to air pollution. Yes, of course, there is a fair share of agriculture, but I think the primary cause of air pollution is elsewhere, which is essentially the vehicles, the industrial pollution, and everything else. But of course, agriculture is an easy target. My question really is that, but are we aware of anything which is being done to really quantify the real contribution of agriculture sector to air pollution? Now, I refer to a recent study done by the Urban Unit of Punjab, and I'm not sure if anyone has read that study here. And if you have, it seems the contribution of agriculture is really minimal. Is pretty tiny. But I'm also not sure if there is another comparative study that gives us more confidence that yes, maybe the contribution of emissions coming from agriculture is anything between 3 to maybe 6-7%, which is again pretty small compared to the vehicular and industrial pollution, which is roughly which roughly accounts for 80% of the air pollution or smog. Is my question to the speakers is, are you aware of any study that is done to actually enumerate the real contribution of agriculture to the problem, or we are just taking the blame because agriculture seems to be an easy target for anything for that reason in the country? Thank you.
Shams, I have a comment on it. Yes, you are right that agriculture is contributing a little portion in air pollution. But unfortunately, when the smoke comes in Punjab, The rice season is about to end, so the burning of rice stubble is going on. So all the credit is, you can say, blamed to the agriculture sector. We need to explore, we need to identify the other factors also. Yes, our transportation system in villages, we are burning the woods also for our kitchen purposes. Yes, our brick lanes, our factories, our industry also. But the agriculture contribution in air pollution can't be ignored, because the, you can keep aside the, you can say, the effect of that smoke from the other communities. The rice stubble smoke composition is very harmful for the humans and all other people. The smoke which comes in result of the rice contribution, rice burning, is meant that agriculture is the main contributor of air pollution.
I think
I'm
I
done.
will, yeah, I would second with the Bilmanan Saha, because even if we don't have any specific studies to estimate or assess the greenhouse gas emissions and air pollutants, but still we can see the international studies which actually prove that there is a significant portion of air pollution or the pollutants and the toxicants in the environment are contributed by agriculture. So with this, is there anyone else wants to ask a question? So there is a question in the chat box, and it states that it's from Rahib Ali from Sami Foundation. Dear Amir Hayat, is it necessary to burn rice tables when farmers are in hurry? Can't they leave them so that they can also help the soil in organic matter formation? I think that's one. So over to you, Mr. Amir, if you are connected.
I think Amir Saab is not connected anymore.
I think,
Yeah.
Yes, I can address this question. No, it is not necessary to burn the rice stubble. Obviously, the rice stubble can increase the soil organic matter, which is very essential for the crop production. But unfortunately, they haven't time. Due to time constraint, what they do, burning is very easy task. Harvest your crop, burn it, plow it, and then sow the next crop. When you cut the rice stubbles and mix into the soil, this create problems in the tillage practices. But if you're going for the zero till practices, then it is very helpful to cut the rice stubble crop, let them settle in the soil, and to increase the soil organic matter.
I would also like to ask another question, Dr. Abdul Manan. Consider if we get a grant from any international, like a foreign investment or a local investment, which sectors of agriculture do you think we need to prioritize in terms of investment?
Uh, Firstly, being an agriculture, I was just to go for the smart irrigation practices, because our water table is decreasing day by day, and we are pumping our water like with the full speed. So we must do, and we must adopt the water efficient practices, efficient irrigation systems to conserve our water. Then we should go for the other practices, digital agriculture things, by deploying the drones and weather stations, and then artificial intelligence tools like sensors within the soil, and machinery also. But machinery, fortunately, the machinery is already in progress in our country. The government gave subsidy on the happy seeder. Government is already giving the subsidy on tractors, but our companies need to shift the tractor being run on the fuel to the electricity, like in cars. I hope this will be done, but it will take some time.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Maruf, if there are no other questions, maybe if I may request to ask a question to Pak Hasto.
Sure, please.
Thank you so much. So I'll benefit from your presence, Pak Hasto, and it brings us a very unique and different perspective from Indonesia. So if you allow me, I wanted to check, and you have, of course, as part of your work, you have done a lot of ground research on what would really encourage people to participate in the model that you are talking about. Of course, it seems to be very clear that stubble burning, crop residue burning is a real issue, and it seems to be a convenient and efficient solution for the farmer. What's your lesson learned from Indonesia? What can you share with us? What can really encourage the farmer to participate in a business model that you are working on, where you will essentially bale, the crop stubble, bring it to your power generation plant, and burn it in a controlled environment? And also, maybe if you could shed light a little more on the discussion around creating cooperatives to improve agricultural practices, and also, doing some social programs within the farmers community. Because when you do that, only then farmers get involved and can really participate in the programs, not by just, stopping to burn the crop residue, but then also being part of the solution. Happy to hear, if there is anything that you want to share with us from Indonesia.
Thank you, brother, and be happy to share. First of all, I have been learning for the last at least 30 years of my career in the infrastructure industry in Indonesia. The lesson that we take from the presence of waste into the behavior of the producer of the waste, starting with probably 15 years ago, the waste from palm oil industry in the form of the palm kernel shell. Before it was such a nuisance waste. People are having a big headache into how to manage the waste, all the way to throwing them anywhere, using them to harden the surface of the road, etc. So no one wanted the waste. Now, about 12 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, I was working with this steel producer, whereby instead of getting the power from the PLN is the state utility company in Indonesia, we had an initiative to convert that palm oil waste into biomass power. And not long after that, there's a market happening whereby people are, instead of having problem disposing the waste, now they are trying to increase the price of the waste because they see a significant economic benefits from selling the waste to a party who can make use of that waste. So that has reached a stage whereby the price of the waste is getting more expensive than the producer can afford. So at the end of the day, there's no market anymore because the buyer is not able to afford the price. The seller does not want to sell because they are getting a peer pressure. So today, the dynamic is still such that this total war between the buyer and the seller. And then it comes back to the old days whereby that waste has become a problem for whoever producing the waste. The second lesson that I get is from the municipal waste, which also consists of some wet waste. Today, um, there's a big mafia of the municipal solid waste that is controlling how the wastes are going to be transacted. So what we are doing right now is trying to learn from that, trying to put a structure whereby, like you correctly mentioned about the ultimate producer or owner of the agriculture waste in our study is varying from the landowner all the way to the farmers. So we and each of the plot of the land, which is we are studying about 200,000 hectares of land and about 11,000 farmers that we are now doing some survey. We identified each and every segments of them and are trying to put a structure whereby they will be happily joining our initiative uh, in a way that they will surrender, not surrender. They will basically provide the waste to us in a structure that will be will stand time because what we intend to do is to use that for long-term power generation, which have 15, 20 years, a contract. So far, the discussion or the dialogue with the owner of the waste is to a level that, of course, we are removing the problem from them, but at the same time, we also would like to put structure that can prevent the greed of the people not to sell the waste, learning from the palm oil and also the municipal waste situation. And the study is still going on. That will determine the bankability of the project. But so far, by involving cooperatives, which under the new government is a big agenda today, we would like to try to empower the cooperative again. So that we have a stronger contract with instead of with thousands of individuals, we will be working with several cooperatives, and so far the input has been quite positive. I hope that answered the question, Brother Shem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hasto. And we have two more questions. They're from Sheeni Akhtar. Number one, how can we scale up sustainable agriculture practices that improve air quality in Pakistan? I think Dr. Abdul Manan has already answered to greater extent. And number two question is also among the same question that I already asked him, and that is, what are some of the key challenges and barriers to implementing sustainable agriculture practices that benefit air quality, and how can we address them? I believe Mr. Amir and Dr. Abdul Manan have already answered, but Dr. Abdul Manan, if you think there is anything left, we have still 5 more minutes. So
Yes, okay. Just let me summarize it. The first barrier is adoption. Our farming community don't want is not innovator mostly, they're laggards. Secondly, capacity building to our staff. Thirdly, government policies and its prices in Pakistan. Fourthly, that at which extent we want to use this. Either we want to shift completely from traditional to sustainable thing, or we just want to move our agriculture system into the separates, because sustainable agriculture is a journey, not a destination so far. Thank you.
So with this, I would like to conclude the discussion. And
Dr. Maruf, I think there is a hand I'd like to check. I think Dr. Chaudhary would like to ask a question. Chaudhary Ali Ahmed. I think maybe you can invite him as well.
okay, but in that case, I think Noshin, can you unmute him? I think he needs to ask his question.
Let me.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम डॉक्टर साहब, मेरे 2 से 3 क्वेश्चंस हैं. आई होप आपने जवाब भी दे दिया होगा. डॉक्टर अब्दुल मान से मेरे क्वेश्चंस हैं. सर, कुछ चीज़ें बता दीजिएगा. एक तो भिंडारा साहब ने बताया था कि 10 साल से वो क्रॉप फ्री हैं, क्रॉप बर्निंग से, यानी अब वो नहीं करते फार्म पे. जो कॉरपोरेट्स हैं, क्या उनके लिए भी मुश्किल है ये क्रॉप बर्निंग से शिफ्ट करना, या उनके लिए मुश्किल नहीं है? क्योंकि छोटे फार्मर के मसाइल हो सकते हैं, आप तो कॉर्पोरेट पे काम कर रहे हैं, तो क्या वो ट्रांसफॉर्म हो चुके हैं या अभी हम उससे पीछे हैं? नंबर 2 मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि एक फार्मर के लिए तो शायद मुश्किल हो कि वो जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसको अडॉप्ट कर सके जल्दी, बट ये बता दीजिएगा कि कॉर्पोरेट्स में आपका जो स्टाफ है उसकी कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग भी आप करते होंगे, तो उसके लिए आपको आसानी है या क्या ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं जो हमें देखने चाहिए कि जो अडॉप्शन के लिए ज़रूरी हैं टेक्नोलॉजी की? थर्डली, जो हास्तु साहब ने कहा कि वो कंट्रोल्ड बर्निंग कर रहे हैं, तो मैं उस हवाले से आपसे पूछना चाह रहा था कि बायोचार्ज हैं या ऑर्गेनिक अमेंडमेंट्स हैं, क्या हम पाकिस्तान में उन्हें स्केल अप कर सकते हैं, ये सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर या फिर ये स्मॉग के मैनेजमेंट के लिए? ये क्वेश्चन है। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू वेरी मच डॉक्टर चौधरी अली अहमद साहब। आपका जिस तरह फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन था वो ये है जी कि जो कॉर्पोरेट्स हैं, यस द कॉर्पोरेट्स हैव एजुकेटेड देयर स्टाफ, दे ट्रेन्ड देयर स्टाफ टू सम एक्सटेंट by telling them that burning of these stubbles are very harmful for our environment, not our environment only, but for our
Who is
coming
responding? I
generations
think
also.
we can't hear.
जो हमारा छोटा फार्मर है, लेस देन 12.5 एकर्स वाला, उनके हाँ ये इशू है। बट एज आई ऑलरेडी हैव मेंशन्ड, विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम हमारा जो स्मॉल फार्मर है उसके अंदर भी ये आ रही है, उसके अंदर भी ये एक आ रही है, अवेयरनेस आ रही है। दे हैव स्टार्ट यूजिंग द सस्टेनेबल टेक्निक्स। सेकंड, जिस तरह बात कर रहे थे कि हमने अपने फार्म को की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की है, ये कैसे आज से कुछ अर्सा पहले लोग अपने जो सुपरवाइजर्स रखते थे वो रखते थे अनएजुकेटेड, but on the big corporate farms all over the country, the people have started employing the agri graduates for their field operations. इसके दो एडवांटेजेस हैं। नंबर वन, वो एजुकेटेड लोग होते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी से उनकी नो हाउ होती है। थर्डली, हमारे जो अनएम्प्लॉयड एग्री ग्रेजुएट्स हैं उन्हें एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी मिल जाती है। आपका तीसरा क्वेश्चन था वो ये था कि क्या बायोचार और दूसरी चीजों को स्केल अप किया जा सकता है? यस, किया जा सकता है, किया जा रहा है, बट दिस विल टेक टाइम टू गेट पॉपुलर अमंगस्ट आवर फार्मिंग कम्युनिटी। लेट मी बी वेरी बोल्ड हेयर, आवर 5% फार्मिंग कम्युनिटी इज innovator. Approximately 70% फार्मिंग कम्युनिटी इज अमंगस्ट द लैगर्ड्स। दैट इज द रीजन कि हम लोग जो मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड से बहुत पीछे हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Manan. So let me close the session by saying that the importance of agriculture cannot be overstated. It is the bedrock of food security, economic stability, and environmental sustainability. Implementing innovative and sustainable practices and evidence-based policies in agricultural sector will not only improve air quality but also enhance the resilience and productivity of our agricultural systems. Thank you, CPDI, for hosting this valuable webinar and several other initiatives on the air quality issues in Pakistan. Thank you, our guest speakers, for your efforts and time. Thank you, audience, for your attention and participation. Please take good care of yourself. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maruf, Shams, and all honorable, esteemed speakers for joining in today. And thank you all the participants for civil society and the other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nosheen, Mukhtar Saab, everyone. I think it was a very, very exciting and certainly very informative discussion. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Maruf, for moderating it. Really, really appreciate this. Thank you. Bye-bye.